The British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Top of the afternoon to ya. I'm Jenny Sung, and we've got both your news and sports headlines today. A coalition between post-secondary schools in the province is calling for cheaper ferry fares for students. Reporter Hayden Stewart has the update.
The coalition is asking for post-secondary students to not have to pay the full adult admission of $20 for a one-way walk-on ticket. The coalition has put forward a one-year pilot program where they suggest the cost should be cut in half to $10. Vice President of External Affairs at the UBC Alma Mater Society, Solomon E. Kieran, says this cut in price would give students more freedom to explore.
Students come to post-secondary institutions in BC because BC has a reputation as being a province with a lot of nature, a lot of wonderful sights to see, and I don't think it's fair to have extra financial burdens on students coming and exploring BC.
The coalition is going to the legislature next week to further talks. Hayden Stewart, BCIT News.
New data from Living Wage BC reports that Metro Vancouver's minimum wage is now $10 below the livable wage. Reporter Arden McLeod spoke with BC Policy Solutions and has more.
Iglika Ivanova with BC Policy Solutions and co-author of the new Living Wage report says that 1 in 3 people must cut basic needs in order to make rent. Landlords increase rates by an average of 26% when a rent-controlled unit is vacated, according to Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. Living Wage BC is calling on the provincial government to work toward closing the gap between the minimum wage and livability, arguing that public programming aimed at reducing the cost of living will be a vital part of that process. Arden McLeod, BCIT News.
The Vancouver seawall is closed and blocked off to pedestrians and cyclists starting today in order for crews to do their annual maintenance. The seawall will remain closed until the end of November. The Vancouver Park Board says there will be new barriers installed along the pathway from Third Beach to Prospect Point. Changing it up to this holiday season, Granville Island's Improv Center has a new festive-themed show full of nostalgia. Reporter Emma has more on the interactive comedy.
Tis the Sitcom is a new family-friendly comedy show inspired by the holiday-themed episodes in classic sitcoms. The show follows a group of friends navigating the holidays and adding lots of twists and turns, including suggestions from the audience. Creator Jackie Gunn hopes the show will resonate with people.
I really hope that people get that warm, fuzzy feeling that they get when they watch anything that's holiday-ish or Christmassy. And I think that this particular format is hopefully going to be a bit of a throwback.
Tis the Sitcom is playing every Friday and Saturday starting November 21st at the Improv Center. Emma Bolsner, BCIT News.
BC researchers believe that the sea wolves along BC's central coast may be getting smarter and has developed the skills to pull up submerged crab traps underwater. Cameras were set up near Bella Bella after the Hailtasuk First Nation noticed traps that they've placed to study invasive crabs were being damaged. Researcher Kyle Artell said they were extremely surprised when they saw the footage of the seawolf pulling on a buoy and line out of the water just like a human, then proceeding to eat the bait in the traps. The study was published today in the Journal of Ecology and Evolution, and it says that this is the first evidence of tool use by wild wolves. This upcoming Wednesday, both British Columbia and the Yukon will be conducting a provincial-wide test of the emergency alert and messaging systems. A statement from the BC government stated the test will take place at 1:55 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This test will be sent to all compatible cell phones and will interrupt both TV and radio broadcasts. The Yukon will be conducting their own tests as well on Wednesday at 1:55 Yukon time. These tests are in place as part of a national effort to ensure there is a standard alert capability across the country. A police officer was shot in the foot by another police officer in Winnipeg, Manitoba. While executing a warrant at a home, officers were confronted by a large dog and it was very aggressive on the property. In an attempt to shoot the dog, the second officer was shot. The injured police officer was transported to the Health Sciences Center in Winnipeg and underwent surgery. He is now recovering. President Trump had a different message today about the possible release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Trump claimed he has, quote, nothing to hide, end quote, and that House Republicans should vote to release the files. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers has more to tell on what Trump said in the Oval Office.
President Trump said Monday that House Republicans can do whatever they want when they vote tomorrow to compel the Justice Department to release the Epstein files.
We'll give them everything. Sure, I would. Let the Senate look at it. Let anybody look at it.
But he said he doesn't want lawmakers talking about it too much because it's taking away from the work his administration is doing. And he said the Epstein issue is a, quote, Democrat problem. The president could order the release of the files without Congress taking this action. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
The man who jumped the barricades and rushed over at Ariana Grande at the Wicked premiere in Singapore has been identified as Johnson Wen and pleaded guilty today to the charge and has been sentenced to 9 days in jail. Wen calls himself, quote, prankster, end quote, on TikTok. This is not Wen's first time around. He had also jumped the barricade at Katy Perry's concert in Australia back in June. When was asked by Australian reporters how he gets past security, he said, quote, magic. Just kidding, I'm just too quick. When also jumped onto the stage at the Weeknd concert in Australia and ran onto the field at the FIFA Women's World Cup final back in 2023. And Ontario's Country Festival of the Summer Boots and Hearts just revealed their headliners for 2026. Nashville's Rascal Flatts and Dallas-founded The Chicks, formerly known as Dixie Chicks, will take on the stage at Boots and Hearts next summer. Some Canadian country artist musicians taking the stage are Brett Kissel, James Barker Band, and Savannah Jade, as well as appearances from Jesse Murph, Tucker Wetmore, and Sam Barber. Moving on to sports now, the Vancouver Canucks are back at it again tonight after their 6-2 victory against the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Vancouver Canucks are up against Florida today, and they meet for their first time this season. Puck drop is at 4 at the Panthers' Den today. Lots of NHL hockey today. The Edmonton Oilers are up against the Buffalo Sabres in Buffalo at 4 o'clock. And Montreal Canadiens are also away from home, and they are in Columbus territory, and puck drop is at 4:30. There are a couple of preseason PWHL matinees on tap. The Toronto Scepters win big today against the Ottawa Charge. Scepters goalie Reagan Kirk shuts out the Ottawa Charge, saving 23 of 23 shots on goal, leading to the 3-0 victory. The Montreal Victoire welcomes the Boston Fleet to Montreal and wins 3-2 on home ice. On a more serious note, early yesterday morning, New York Jets cornerback Chris Boyd was shot in Midtown Manhattan in New York. Boyd is currently in critical but stable condition, and there has not been word on a motive for the shooting, and no arrests have been made in connection. The Toronto Raptors are back home today after a successful 5-game road trip. Toronto won 4 of 5 games away from home to move into the second place in NBA's Atlantic Division standings. The Raptors will entertain the Charlotte Hornets this evening at 4:30. Anyways, with weather, we've still got to get through the Vancouver winters. We are still in for some showers tonight and tomorrow with an average temperature of 8 degrees, but we'll see some sunshine and midweek on Wednesday and Thursday. But it wouldn't be Vancouver if we didn't end the week off with some heavy rain. Thursday and Friday, we are in for some heavy showers. Fridays, we're going to see up to 25 milliliters on Friday, and it slows down a little bit on Saturday. I'm Jenny Sung, and thanks for tuning in to your news and sports headlines. Sayonara and cheerio. Thanks for listening and tuning in. You can catch Avia Boulet at 3:30 today.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the
When I tell people that I studied journalism, they immediately say, oh, you want to be a reporter. But I think, in my case personally, I really want to go into magazines, PR, social media. And I think here at school we learn a lot of skills that allow you to go into that world, because you learn how to write for social media, social content, for websites,